Israel's ongoing targeting of journalists and Lebanese civilians?
Well, let me start by wishing to the people of Lebanon, to your viewers, a very happy Independence Day. Our support for Lebanon, for the people of Lebanon, is unwavering. We want to see Lebanon live in peace and prosperity, and all of our efforts remain directed, as they have been in the past, towards that goal. With respect to what has happened on the border, we certainly regret the loss of any life. We're particularly sensitive to journalists being targeted. Journalists around the world, not just in this conflict, perform an invaluable service, and it's a service that needs to be regarded with respect and protected. But I have to note, we do not believe that the continuation of provocative attacks from Lebanon, reaching deeper and deeper into Israel, striking at areas which are civilian, not military in their character, in any way serve the interests of the people of Lebanon. They need to be stopped. There is no necessary escalation here. There is no intent, I think, to see a war. But if these attacks out of Lebanon do not cease, then the risks of a miscalculation, a mistake, progressively rise. And that's not in the interests of the peoples of Israel or of Lebanon.
But I would like to stress on the question that I've asked. These journalists have been killed by an Israeli attack. You did not answer my question, Mr. Satterfield.
We regret profoundly.
We all regret profoundly, Mr. Satterfield, but these journalists were killed and targeted, and prior to that, on the 13th of October, a Reuters journalist was killed by an Israeli shell.
The attacks across the border did not begin with Israel. They were calculated by Hezbollah. They continue to be calculated by Hezbollah. Israel has every right to respond and to defend itself. If there were no Hezbollah attacks, then there would be no Israeli responses.
Okay, moving to your primary mission, Mr. Satterfield, since your appointment as Special Envoy, can you share with us, please, what kind of assistance has been provided to Gaza and the besieged Palestinians inside the Strip? Starting with the commencement from zero of humanitarian assistance moving into Gaza on October 21, the international community, the UN, acting primarily through UNRWA, the World Food Program, and the ICRC, has been able to distribute now over 1,200 truckloads of goods to the people of Gaza. Water services in the south and center of Gaza, which were cut off completely, desalination plants out of fuel, pipelines from Israel closed. Those have been resumed. We arranged for the movement of fuel from within Gaza to critical humanitarian functions, hospitals, bakeries, water pumps, wells, as well as the desalination facilities in the south. And we have now arranged for fuel to be moved, new fuel, from Egypt into Gaza to replenish that. Now, these are small steps. Much, much more needs to be done. But it is starting from a point of zero. We believe this effort needs to be continued, needs to be expanded, needs to be supported by the international community. And we welcome the role that Egypt has played in all of this. It's been critical, as well as the role played by the UN and its agencies. Is there an amount or a number that you can share with us on the assistance that's going to be provided by the United States to the Gaza Strip? The United States has requested from the Congress $100 million in assistance for humanitarian purposes in Gaza primarily. That money remains part of the ongoing political process in Washington. It has not yet been approved, but the administration strongly supports it. But in the meantime, we have been mobilizing assistance to flow into El Arish. A significant amount came last week. More will be expected in the days to come. Despite the significant amount, and I'm quoting UN officials, every assistance that has been able to overpass the Israeli obstacles is still not enough, according to UN officials, and it's barely meeting the minimum needed. Those are the remarks of the President of the United States as well. The assistance isn't enough. Much more does need to be done, and we're committed to see it done. We have been working
as actively as we can with all of our partners in the region, as well as within the United Nations and the NGO community, to see much more assistance moving in a predictable, reliable fashion. It isn't enough, I'll repeat that point, but we want to see it become more. We are convinced with global support, we have the structures in place now to see that happen.
Is it not enough because Israel is putting obstacles to the entrance of such assistance and aid? And when you talk about partners, who do you mean exactly?
The international community, Israel, which has facilitated a dramatic increase in inspection procedures from what they were only a few weeks ago, the government of Egypt, all have to cooperate together in an efficient fashion to make the movement go. And no, it is not Israeli blocks on assistance which have provided this. It is the need for the international community to respond to the UN's global appeal in a much more active fashion, sufficient fashion. It is for Egypt to do the utmost that it can through the Egyptian Red Crescent to efficiently move trucks, for Israel to inspect them, and for them to be then moved once in Gaza by the UN, by UNRWA, World Food Program, and ICRC to their destinations. All have to work well. We have been working to make that mechanism a success. I think we have it now, and that we will see a significant increase beyond current levels taking place over the days and weeks to come.